Hey everyone, this week's case study is, as you'll see from the pictures, is really about more of the upper torso. But why I included this, it was a perfect tie-in to what the pelvis was doing. So with the level 1 cert that we did, we talked about many of the compensations that could occur from an elevated pelvis. And in this case, this is kind of that classic example of having the elevation but then looking at the shoulder and seeing the shoulder depressed on the same side as the elevation. So in this particular case, there was a right elevation of the pelvis, but then there was a right shoulder depression. So it was kind of like this counteracting here. Elevate right, right shoulder depressed. And you'll see that from the before picture. And then we went through the routine, and then you can see with the after pictures, the improvement. So this is one of those cases where I kind of went after both. I went after the elevation, but I also addressed some of the upper torso shoulder deviations. And this is actually the third level of certification, which is going into the torso, and then also how that's affecting the shoulder blade and shoulder position. So in this case, there was also one other thing I thought was pretty significant, and that was there was a lateral shift in her torso. And again, you'll see that from where the plumb line is. You'll see the person's body off to the left side there. So what we did, I had her start with the legs up, and I just did the knee squeezes. And then from there, I kind of combined the hip stability with upper body, and you'll see we did the presses that's what squeezing with the arm. Then we did the pullovers. Now when we did that though, I had the strap around the knees, so she had a constant pressure out with the strap, pushing out with the knees there, and that was to get the lateral stabilizers to engage. And then from there we did the reverse lock, where she's just twisting the arms back here. From there we went into the counter stretch, and that was that big lat stretch, across, and you see that exercise pretty common with all the case studies so far. I use that a lot. It's so beneficial because of how the whole lat and the thoracolumbar fascia ties into the low back, and then again tracing that up and seeing how the lat actually attaches the humerus and its effect on the shoulder position, whether it be depression or internal rotation of the shoulder. So that was the next. From there we went into a single arm door stretch. That was the arm here leaning forward, so you're getting a big pec stretch. The key with that one, it was really key with her, was that as she got the stretch to the pec, that she didn't elevate the shoulder or let it anteriorly rotate. So we really cued her on keeping that mid and low trap engaged to help pull the shoulder down. And then I simply ended with the sitting knee presses, which is sitting on the bench, sitting real tall, pressing out against the strap. And that was really two things, which I love that exercise because it does so much. So we did the lateral stability, of course, because that's pressing out against the strap, but also when someone sits in that position and they get into that anterior tilt with the pelvis, they get into that lordosis, they get into T-spine extension, their head pulls back. The beauty of that is that the trap 1 or the upper trapezius muscle will actually shut down. And then in turn, what's going to happen is the mid and lower trapezius are actually contracting. So instead of me giving this particular client, these neck stretches or these iso type stretches, we were able to release that by way of addressing the pelvis and started addressing some of the upper back deviations and shoulder deviations. So that was it with that case study. Really interesting though. Again, you'll see that before and after. What I'm trying to do for everyone, the people that are watching these videos, is that how we start with the pelvis, we progress into the lower extremity, and then the third is going into the torso and the scap, and then we'll tap into level 4, which is the whole upper extremity, and then basically that level 5, as you all know, is going to be kind of combining it all together and how every part is really interrelated. So if you guys have any questions, please post them on that member site. That's why you guys have it. It's also, hopefully you guys are learning from that, because these case studies are actually very interesting. So if you have questions, post them on there, and we will see you next week.